But I started doing something. So I'm one of these people that, like, when I'm eating a meal, I prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemy. Like I go in. Don't talk to me while I'm eating. Like this is an event, right? Like I don't eat for sustenance like everybody else.
If you're listening to this and you're not a Gen Z, you might want to turn this off.
Trigger warning.
Well, welcome to Beyond the Base podcast, and this is a podcast by Gen Zs, for Gen Zs, and anyone else who cares to listen, where we talk about business, culture, technology, and the world as a whole through young Nigerian Gen Zs. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Base podcast. I'm your host, the one and only Base Manolu, and today we have our main character around.
I'm not the main character, I keep telling you this, but I'm back again.
Yeah, we missed him on the last episode and, he has something special for you. So today I have a really, really good friend of mine, someone that I've known for a while. Let's just say a while, right? She wears many hats, but she's majorly to me a friend. She's a philanthropist, a content creator, and a 9-to-5 warrior. And she's also, that's by choice. But yeah, she's also a mental health advocate, and she runs a foundation that really makes a lot of headway in that space. So welcome, Niah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Niah.
Hello.
It's really nice to have you.
Thank you very much. Like Olu said, my name is Niah, but you could call me Niah. And yeah.
What does Niah mean?
Strength of God.
Oh. It's in the Bible, huh?
Yes.
I'm gonna note that down.
If you were reading your Bible, to our Bible,
wow.
Wait,
that name.
Yeah, we read book in the Bible.
First Chronicles chapter 15, verse 22.
I'm in Exodus.
I
read Exodus 12 this morning.
Genesis, Exodus.
Wait,
the second chapter of the Bible since you were born into a Christian home, been going to church. You are in Exodus. Shame.
Shame. Everybody has. We're all on this journey.
Which journey is that?
Yes, now we're all on this journey.
I'm on that journey with you.
My own journey started properly in November.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, it started properly in November. I mean, it should have started earlier, but I was very stubborn. And
the Holy Spirit arrested you. Love that.
The Holy Spirit arrested me in December of 2023, but
another year went by.
Yeah, it took a lot.
Yeah,
it took a lot.
And that's something about him. He's patient.
Exactly.
He has your time.
Exactly. Yeah, he does. That's why I'm still in Exodus. Yeah, now it's more of a I'm willingly opening my Bible and reading. And today I had an epiphany.
Love that. What did you learn?
It was Exodus 12.
Okay.
And it was basically it was so the two verses that really stuck out to me was 11 and 39. So Exodus 12 is basically the final act in the whole story of Moses and Pharaoh. And basically God was telling Moses that he should tell the Israelites that this is 11, that he should tell the Israelites that when they are eating their meal for the Passover, after they've slaughtered the lambs and they've brushed it on their lintel, like when they're eating the meal for the Passover, they should be fully clothed, right? And I saw that. And because I already know the story of the Exodus, I saw that and it stuck out to me. Then reading down, you get to 39 and you see that after, the angel of the Lord had passed over Egypt and had, killed the firstborns, that the people of Egypt were wailing and crying, and Pharaoh was like, all of you get out. Like the Israelites should get out. They did not have time to think. They did not have time to do anything. Up, go. And it hits me that
that's why they were dressed.
That's why they were dressed. They were dressed in full clothes, sandals, their staff, everything
they were
was
prepped.
They were prepped. And it just hits me that with God's people, he preps you. Before he makes his move, he preps you so that when the move is made, you're already ready to go.
Wow.
And I was just after I finished, I joined T30 and 2:30 was extra long today, but
Yeah,
I joined
it's a finale
2:30.
of the
Yeah,
20 day,
yeah, and then there was that, and then after I was reading Exodus 12, and he hit me, and I spent another hour praying, and after that, I texted my friend. I was like, "Bruh, let me tell you what I just read." And it's not a thing like I've read Exodus before,
Yeah.
right? But like I was just like, "Let me tell you what I just read," and then like I texted my girlfriend. I was like, "Let me tell you what I just read," and like we spoke about it, and I was just like, and then one of the things I was asking when I was praying, I was like, God, like all these things you've told me, am I actually preparing for it? And if I'm not, help me to like speak to me so that I know what way I'm preparing for what you want to do. So yeah.
I love that. Amazing. I think that's one thing about the Bible where it's like fresh. Like you can read it like 100 times, and then 101st time you're seeing something and it's like,
Why is
okay,
it
like
sticking out to me?
and you're like boom, 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 it's in your head. And I can testify to the excitement of when something sparks and connects, and I'm calling everybody like, yo, let me tell you, let me put you on. Let me put you on. Me being the prophetess, I saw this. So I think that's really cool. That's really amazing. I love that for you. So yeah, you do be reading your Bible. Love that.
Yeah.
I hope the next time we talk about it here, maybe Isaiah.
Most likely.
You know, because it's New Testament at least.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's good.
But yeah. Well, how's your week been so far?
I don't know why when you said that, there's this content creator to me who goes, how's your day going? That's what came to mind. Oh, how's my week going? Let me tell you guys, I've actually had the best week.
Oh.
Not because there hasn't been work. I've gone to the office 3 times this week, driven myself to and fro.
Yeah.
But I started doing something. So I'm one of those people that like when I'm eating a meal, I prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemy. Like I go in. Don't talk to me while I'm eating. Like this is an event, right? Like I don't eat for sustenance like everybody else.
Okay.
I remember when I don't know if it was COVID, but I lost my taste. I didn't want to eat because there was no point. And they're like, no, you're not eating for the fun of it. You're eating. I'm like, no. I'm eating for enjoyment. I'm not eating for nutrition. That's the business of who is looking for it. So me personally, lots of times because I can't eat while I'm doing anything else. I have to have my show. I need to be.
Yeah.
So I end up eating like maybe once a day because how often am I able to prepare my meal and have my movie and be uninterrupted, right? So because of that and because of work, I usually don't eat at work because then somebody's going to come call you. And So I usually don't eat at work. Most times I'm having my first meal at like 9 p.m. That's when...
I wish I could relate. I would have fainted by then.
I can't do that.
So I have lots of times... So maybe I have like a little snack.
Yeah.
Rarely though. But like I will have my first meal at like 8, 9 p.m. When I get home from work, I prep it and then I savor the moment. And it's my moment, right? Some people, it's like when they have a shower and they're creaming their body, that's their moment. Me... And I started that habit in uni actually, where no matter what goes wrong in the day, I'm going to go to CAF, I'm going to buy myself a meal, watch my sitcom and be happy. I know that, we go again tomorrow, the whole day, like I just wash that whole day off. So anyways, this week, because we weren't sure whether Third Mainland was going to close or not, my mom was like, I would advise you to just eat at work. I urge you, Chalana, eat at work, because you cannot collapse at the steering. Because you see that traffic that's going to hold you. I will not hear anybody's cries. Eat at work. So for one of the first times, I actually had lunch at work. And I did just have lunch at work because, again, I need to set a table before me. So I ordered my meal. I didn't even leave my desk. I didn't go to the cafeteria. I sat at my desk. Okay. I opened up this book I'm reading. I plugged in my ears. I was listening to my jazz. And I had my meal and I savored the moment. Guys... I had that experience and it's like, I can't go back. Wednesday, same thing. Thursday, same thing. People will come and meet me and I'm like, I'm at lunch. I'm at lunch. And they're like, no, but I'm like, I'm at lunch. If you need something, you better take that laptop and do it yourself. Me, I'm at lunch. And everybody takes, an hour to have lunch. I'm good with like 30 minutes. I do that and I'm set for the day. So even when I worked late on those days, or I had to stay back, like, I wasn't as wound up or cranky. And I was drained. Like, maybe... this eating thing has been it all along. Maybe if I actually ate, like, I promise you, it was like, wow.
Look a woman discovered.
Shout out to Mommy Niah.
Bro, I was like, what if, like, what if this is it? Like, if I have lunch, I'm not as stressed out. So, I did that throughout this week and it was just so calm. Like, even when I was working with it, was like, yeah, I have food in my tum-tum. I've, like, You know, and I'm a, you know, when I have my meal, I have my drink or my water, I have because another thing is, if I have something spicy, I need to balance it with something sweet. So I need to have a sweet little treat after. So if I'm buying like a spicy sandwich, I'm gonna buy a popsicle with it, or like even if it's just candy or chocolates after, like, and if I have something sweet, I need to have something spicy as well. So it's always a balance. Okay. So you know, I had my lunch, I had my sweet little treat after. I was staying hydrated. I kept filling up my water bottle. It just felt like, you know, wow. I was driving home. There was traffic, but I wasn't angry. I wasn't, you know, fighting anyone in traffic. I was having a One Direction concert. You know, if it wasn't 1D, it was like, you know, 90s music. I was having a good time. And I was like, you know, this is what life is. Because you think about it, but it's like, you know, let me hustle. And, you know, on the weekends, like, I don't want to suffer 5 days of the week to have a, you know, 6 days of the week because I'm in school, to have like a breather on a Sunday. I don't want to work 60 years of my life to have retirement. So it's like, savor the day, like actually just enjoying the day as it goes, because this is the life. This is it you're living. You know, so that was what happened this week, and I really had a good time this week.
You know, I'm so glad we have this on video. For any guy that's ever been in a relationship, I know how you've had to beg the women in your life to eat and not starve themselves to death. Like, this is literal proof.
You know what? I'm going to look at the camera. I am looking at you. Let's eat more.
So you can literally see a very good testimonial. This wasn't biased. We didn't have to motivate her to do this.
This changed my life, honestly. And I started to realize, because you know, there's people at work that used to be like, it's 3 o'clock. I can't see clearly. And I'm like, why? Because I could go the whole day. But you know, you can go the whole day and you won't collapse. But the quality of the day will be different if you've eaten. A good meal, not what you have in your office cafeteria, because it's probably bad. A good meal, invest in it.
Let's hope
have
your
your sweet little treat. They know as well. Have a sweet little treat, you know, and don't just eat. Please, don't just eat. Do something. Read a book. Listen to music. Don't talk to anybody. Savor the moment, please. You just enjoy your own company for once. You know, if it's even to think about your life, pray, you know, have a good time. That is my advice. See again.
We hope so. But please, if you're like me, don't watch more than one episode of whatever it is you're watching while you eat. I'm begging you.
Let me tell you, that's why in the office I can't watch a show. That's why I started reading. At least I'm reading my novel and it works, because if I'm watching a show, right, usually I watch sitcoms, so 20-25 minutes I'm good, which is fine. But then I've been watching a medical series recently, 55 minutes, and until it finishes I can't get up. And that 55 minutes, I don't want to now fight with my in charge now because I want to finish my 55 minutes. So I read my book, finish a chapter, and I'm good to go. And I can finish a chapter in like 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, fast reader.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's good.
How about you, Bidakpo? How was your week?
My week went by really fast. But Tuesday and Wednesday I was driving a lot, so I was drained. And so the thing about me is that I can get physically tired, but when I'm mentally exhausted, it takes me like 2-3 days to recoup. And Tuesday, Wednesday, because of all the driving, I became mentally exhausted. Right. So Tuesday, I took my girlfriend for an interview, and I was around.
I just want to say that. Both parties are in a relationship, right? However, from the moment I've walked into the studio, Ivitaho has my girlfriended me. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5. I said, he who doesn't have a girlfriend, you'll be shaking in your boots beside the because some people do this love thing, and some people are the ones writing the books for others to learn this love thing. Shout out to you.
Oh my days. Anyway, I was with her, and then after that, we hung out for a bit, and then I drove her to her aunt's house, and her aunt stays around like Opik, so I took her there, and then
that's why you were in Opik that day.
Yeah.
Do you live close to Opik?
No, I live in Maryland.
Opik is far.
Yeah, Opik is far.
For those who don't know, Opik is a different state too. What you won't do for love.
Anyway, so So like I was exhausted,
Yeah.
and then the next day I had to be out early because I went to my aunt bakes, and sometimes I help her deliver. So like I went to deliver a cake for my aunt, and then
Does she do keep you?
Real. But you bake too.
I'm retired. I'm a retired baker. Do you know what it is to bake 30 banana bread before facing traffic to go to VI, and you're carrying the banana bread up the stairs to deliver in the office before you start your day's work?
that's a lot.
That's
But I don't. I mean, so for us that like we live in the house, right? Because where we stay is like a family house, right? So for us that live in the house, we get free samples a lot. I don't eat cakes anymore because like I'm
too much.
Like I get nauseated even by the smell. So like I don't eat cakes anymore. But like we get a lot. Like maybe if you're at my house one day and my aunt is just like, oh, can you guys taste this? Like that's when you get like a free sample or giveaway, but not really. She doesn't really do giveaways.
That's
but
fine.
yeah. So from coming back, because I went to the island before 8, dropped off the cake, and I was coming back, and then I decided to branch at a field, and then I ended up talking to a guy. Like he was telling me about the team that he plays in and all. And by the time I got home, like I lay down on the bed and I realized that all that driving, all the being outside, Lagos is over stimulating. So like
somebody's finally seen my POV. No, this week I was accused of being a serial introvert. Like, but I mean, go on.
Yeah, like so I'm also, so many people don't know this, but I'm also introverted, and yes,
This is the confusion
I am
face.
introverted. I just have very good social skills, so I can hold the conversation with people. But most times, the reason why I'm able to do that is because many times I'm on my own, right? So the small energy I use to go outside can sustain me a whole day, but then by the time I'm going back inside, I can decide to disappear for like 3-4 days. Nobody will see me, right? So I go back in, and then I realized that I was mentally exhausted. And I just slept. And I was telling my friend that I can't even afford to sleep because I have a lot of things to do. But then on Saturday, I'm going to take my sleep. Like, if you call me on Saturday, I'm not going to answer you because I'm sleeping. I need
Except you're his babe. We're going.
I mean, I would tell her, I would tell her beforehand, like, oh, I actually need to sleep because of this, and this. So I know she won't call. But I already know that 12 hours, that's what I'm just going. Anybody in the house, I'm just going to lock myself. Don't call me. I'm just going to sleep. So that's how my week was. Like, that was how my week was.
That's lovely.
Yeah. And then, yesterday, I went to Computer Village to get my laptop checked out. And I was telling Olu, and I think the reason why I've stopped driving a lot, especially, is because of how exhausting it's gotten.
Oh, definitely.
So
I decided in Lagos would test you.
Yeah, it does take a lot from you. So I decided that, I was just going to take public transport. But I'm not talking about Danfo. I'm not talking about Danfo.
Okay, that's why you took the train.
Yeah, that's why I took the train.
But
so
then getting to the train,
my grandma stays at Ilupeju.
Yeah.
So I just take like a 200 naira keke
to you went from your grandma's house.
To Oshodi. And then I just walk into the train station, tap in, 9-minute train ride to Ikeja, tap out. Like, it was like a 7-minute walk to the person's shop. After I was done, I went to Jara Mall. I had a meal. I sat down. I chilled a little bit. And so because of how my brain gets overstimulated easily, when I'm in a place that is serene, I can detect it. So in Jara Mall, I was at Kilimanjaro, and my body relaxed. Like, and I was like, this is a safe haven, because I was like, my mind was relaxed, my body was relaxed, I felt comfortable, I felt like cold water was being poured over me. Wow. And then after I finished eating, I sat for like 10 minutes, then I walked back to the train station, got in the train, 9 minutes, back at Oshodi, and then I walked home. So it was like a 15-minute walk home, but it was in the evening, so the sun was, I like walking, I really like walking. So 15 minutes, I got home, and then like I just went up, did a little bit of work, and I went to sleep. But yesterday was really good because of the fact that I love taking trains. Like, I love taking trains. Like, anytime I travel, right, I barely use Ubers, I barely use taxis. public transports, trains, trams, buses. Like I love it because like my mind wanders, my body. I'm restless. Like I like to move around. So being able to move around so easily is very easy. So moving around very easily with trains and buses and trams like is absolutely sweet. So the fact that I was able to take a train, like it was amazing. And then people were now like texting me like on my Instagram, replying my story like, oh, you're giving tourists in Lagos, touristy, blah blah blah. I'm like,
I asked this boy. He posted a picture of himself at the train station. And I was like, oh, where you at? But where are you going? This boy just told me en route.
Yeah, the thing was that like so the thing was that the story he replied, right? I was walking on the road. So when I saw his listening, I just typed en route and I was like, when I'm able to, I will reply. But then I forgot. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot. Yeah. So that's how my week was. What about you?
Before I get to that, I'm so happy. Even though we all know the source of funding for those trains, and by God Almighty, maybe we'll be able to pay back. Nigeria will be able to pay back the people that finance the trains. It's so beautiful to see it because since I was a child, I fell in love with Europe's transport systems, right? From the first time I traveled, I was like 9. The bus system, the train, everything was so organized.
Yeah.
I know that when you now come back into the country, you're like, God, why do I have to come back?
I have a viral
here?
TikTok that went viral. Like it's a whole going from this, you just see the whole Europe trip.
Next video, he was inside the downfall at
Yaba. You just hear Sabo. Now that TikTok blew up and it was funny. It was really funny.
I think a lot of the time we underemphasize or undermine the importance of like transportation infrastructure and like the role it plays. The fact that you get out of your house to go to work and it's not 100% sure that there's going to be a vehicle to get you to your place of work, I feel like we're too used to rubbish because that's insane. That's actually not normal.
It's not even just the availability, the stability of the pricing, the traffic on the road, right? You've already calculated, this just takes me 40 minutes. That's when you find out that one trailer hit a downfall.
You can't do that here. Exactly, you can't do that here. And I think it's like, we consider like, okay, as Africans, you know, we can adapt quickly and we can make it work. And I think that really plays to a very like neurotypical mind where, you know, with someone who has a mental health challenge or something, they rely a lot on structure and routine.
They'll be so
and when
restless.
you can't depend on that, it's difficult. You can't give. So there's organizations that like in, you know, the UK and the US that like employ, and many other countries, by the way, that employ autistic people, for instance, or people with Down syndrome. And because the goal for them is to try and like have them live independent lives, right? So it's like, okay, you know that this man or this woman can, you know, leave their house, go to the train station, you go to the bus stop, get a bus from here to here, move from here to here at this time. I know that it's going to be there. It's going to take this long to get to work and they'll clock in at this time. But then imagine, because I was going to do a YT video on this and I was going to do like a reenactment of what it would look like if an autistic person or someone with Down syndrome or any other like neuro, you know,
diverse,
you know, took Nigerian transportation, right? Me in my car alone, I'm even driving to say that I could. I put in an address in Google Maps. I was in VI. This other address, VI2. For whatever reason, there was some traffic and then it takes me through a longer route. But I'm like, you know what, let's go. For whatever reason, I found myself in a co-market. I'm driving on Broad Street between human beings. Now, I don't know what's up with that place, but like, everybody just likes to touch your car. So it sounds like it's raining because we're just like, there's that. Right. I'm horning like, please move, please move. By the way, this is the man's leg. Mind you, this is the road. This is the road. I kind of just
brush his leg.
I promise you, it wasn't even able to push him. It kind of just like, just.
Let me guess the theatrics.
Hey! He turns around. First he starts banging my car. Oh my God. And then he sees that nothing is happening. Then he comes to my side window. He's trying to break the glass. And at this point I'm like, please. So why couldn't you stop? I said the brake is not working. The brake is not working. Please, the brake is not working. Right. And I'm imagining a friend of mine, like I can imagine like a bunch of friends of mine, like that are not like neurotypical, and like they're not even the ones driving, they're in the car with me, and this one is doing all these antics. You can have a whole thing, like you can have a whole breakdown at that moment because it's just a lot happening at the time. So imagine you can't count on you can't rely on like the bus, the train, you can't rely on any transportation essentially. You go to the bus stop, somebody is telling you, sure, you know, so much is happening. You ask a question like, oh, is this? And it's like, hey, someone is trying to chance you. The pricing is not steady. You go there yesterday, it was 500 naira. Now you now say, okay, because you're the only one there, it's 1,000. And this person left their house with 500, budgeting for this thing that you've done. So there's no structure. It's so difficult. And I always say, if you don't have the infrastructure to accommodate someone, then you're essentially denying their existence. You're essentially saying they don't exist. So a lot of times, when we look at like, oh, the numbers around like mental health in Nigeria, we're like, oh, you know, we don't have that many special needs people. I'm like, because you don't see them often, doesn't mean they're not there. And why you don't see them is because how will you see them? What's the infrastructure? How will they get to where you are?
Do you know how many buildings still don't have ramps?
You see that ramp one? Now let me tell you. Again, you know when this thing is an afterthought. Have you seen some ramps? Let me tell you. Remember, I'm not supposed to drag it, but there was where we used to have church before. I won't say their name. I won't say the church. Where we used to have church before. The ramp there. If you put somebody on it, the person will be flat. That's how steep it is. You know that it was last minute. They were like, use the extra cement quickly.
At least, because there was a hotel I stayed in last year for RBC, right? And this one was, I mean, there's still afterthoughts that you do well. This one, there was a ramp, but then there was still now a barrier that you have to step over on the ramp to get to the reception. So I was wondering that even if I'm able to roll the wheelchair there, I still have to lift.
Like it's clearly not made to cater, not even cater,
it's
but
just
to accommodate.
Fulfill righteousness. Let it just look
exactly to accommodate people who actually have these needs. And that's why I'm just like, are we really ready? Like, so we say, oh, we don't have it, we don't have them. No. You just don't care enough to create the facilities to accommodate them. Then you see, put those facilities in place, put those infrastructure in place. Then you see how really diverse we actually are. But now it's like, well, we don't really have that many people. You're not serious, is what it is. I took us so far. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. I mean, that's fine.
We're talking about transportation. But and I wanted to speak to the sleeping bit. I don't have time to schedule sleep anymore. It's sad. And I think I don't have time to like just say like, oh, this whole day I'm gone, right?
Wow.
But you know, it reminded me of how, like, you know, being an adult, you kind of have to schedule everything.
My like, calendar is full.
You know, you schedule like a breakdown. You schedule, okay,
a breakdown.
3 p.m. to 3:30. I'm going to cry because I work. We cry a lot.
Oh wow!
And we always look at the fact that like you're crying, but obviously you will still do that work.
Facts.
You're crying, but you see this work, it must still go. So you don't want to be crying on your laptop because then you're not really letting your emotions. So you're like, okay, I want to cry about this thing. Let me set this time. Let me push out this thing. Then I'll go to the bathroom, let it out, and then come back. Why are we scheduling crying? Adulthood is just something else. And to the scheduling sleep, because I'm not able to really like schedule a planned sleep, my body
crashes.
I feel like my brain sets me up. So this thing happens. It's happened like twice now where I come back from work. I don't intentionally do it, but I forget my phone in my car. And so I go to my room and I just notice that like, I don't even notice that I don't have my phone. I just know that I lay down. Usually I'm like on my phone doing work, but I just lay down and I crash, which happened yesterday. And it's when I wake up. I'm like, where's my phone? There's so much I should have done. I didn't miss it here. My body is like, I sleep, but you don't want to plan for.
I'm gonna take it.
It will take it. It will take it.
I can relate to that so much, which I'll actually just push that into how my week has been, right? I work remotely, which ideally should mean that I should have some semblance of work-life balance, right?
No, it's a myth.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for being on point. Because most people don't think that. Once they hear that you're working remote, they think, oh, okay, I probably should add I work for a financial institution. And I'm an engineer, but I largely support operations. If you ever had any operational role in your life, you know that operations is It's the closest thing to taking over your life or handing over your life to work. Work never finishes. Like, it never... The day you magically are able to clear out your to-do list, all I need to do is drop my phone for less than an hour, and I can have double requests, right? So, it's been tough, but I've been trying. I mean, it's almost 2 months now that I started going to the gym, even though I go before the day starts, because my evenings are unpredictable. Again, because of work, stuff happens, things crash, money goes missing. Like, whatever you had planned for that day shuts down. I've had days where we get a notice from CBN. All I know is, once I get, this must be submitted today, I just call whoever I had plans with. I'm sorry, forget about it. You're not seeing me until. You get? And it's been nice.
Yeah, so last week when I saw you, there was no impromptu.
Oh, that one. Now workers do. They know that I will drag
that's true,
you
that's true.
if you carry my workers day from me. That was the only reason why I had that one off. But yeah, but nobody gave me a heads up or a warning about leg day in the gym. Because I don't know why my coconut head trainer did not think about it. I decided to start my week with leg day. So I never knew the importance of my thighs.
So I broke my leg at the beginning of this year, right? And I realized how important your legs are to your body.
And
health insurance as well.
Yeah.
My knee, right? Even till now, right? Because again, I'm exercising so that I can start playing football again. Because I broke my leg playing football, but I absolutely love football. So like I'm gonna get back into it. Yeah. Anyway, so like I've been like, exercising, kicking the ball around, and there's some movements I will make that before were so natural to me. But now I have to sit up because I need to give you the effects. Like when I make those movements, I feel it in this part of my brain. That there's something wrong here.
Oh my God.
And that's the beauty about the human body. Like every single part of your body is needed for you to...
Like you never fully appreciate how something works until it's not working. And
I had a whiff.
Oh my...
Once in my life, it was this finger. Guys, I prayed. I thought I was going to lose my mind. And I was like, it's just a finger. Like, it's this thing. You do not... I don't think it does anything except like my...
Yeah.
Why are you... What?
Trust me. I think I suffered it early on in like primary 4. This finger, the entire nail came out. I saw the inside of this nail. I was traumatized.
I think, yes, same. That traumatized me as well, where I saw, because mine was half of the finger. So I saw the other meat and I saw the hollow part and I was like, am I ever going to be whole again? Right. Bro, it was scary. And then that's when I started deeping, like, having 10 fingers, having
even the nail that you don't know what's the actual function for this thing.
It has a role.
And plus, kids are horrible. Because again, imagine primary school, you have a classmate whose nail bed has the horrible stories they told me. At a point, I was just praying, God, whatever you do, just give me this finger back.
Same. That was me, and I was in uni. I was like, God, please, anything you ask, I'll send it for you. Please, just give me my hand back. Yay.
Yeah, so you said something about kids, right? About kids, and I actually want us to, because today we're actually supposed to be talking about mental health, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to say something about kids, and I had an experience when I was like younger, right, where I used to get bullied, right, and I know that really affected me up until maybe when I got to uni, right, and I wanted to ask, right, what do you guys think about the effects of like how kids taunting each other affects a person's mental health growing up?
Oh, definitely. Do you want to go first?
No, you go ahead.
Yeah. So for me, I think I've witnessed it growing up as well. I went to a number of schools growing up as well. So the shifts, the dynamics, and also even personally, right? As a child, I've always been curious. I still am. As a child, I was always yappy as well. I never used to shut up, right? Until I got to school, and then you get introduced to the dynamics. I don't know how what's the word now? How dramatic a lot of people's experiences were, but mine was a bit, because you get to school and then you start to hear of concepts like reputation, who are the cool kids, this is what to do, what not to do. And I went to a relatively popular school in Lagos where that was on a lot, right? And a lot of things also were swept under the carpet. I can't mention names. I don't want to drag anyone, but it was quite crazy, like extremes. I mean, there were times that teachers and students got into hand-to-hand combat because of it was wild. Trust me, it was, and not obvious. People knew nothing was going to happen to the students, right? It was not the most healthy place, right? And I would say that's why even these days, even when I see children, right, from primary school to secondary school, I'm often worried, especially because of the age we live in. Because I know at that age, I know the kind of thoughts I had, I know the kind of things I was exposed to, right? I mean, I went to a school where we had laptops right from JS1, like we had school, and I know what children were doing with those laptops in class. So, it's very worrisome, right? I my heart really goes out to parents as well, because you can do your best in training a child, and then once you put them out in the real world, like those exposures matter a lot, and that's why you have to like be really sensitive, even as like older siblings and all, because again, they're children. Children are always assume that they're big in their mind, right? Even when they are so tiny. If you go back to memories of yourself as a child or a teenager, I feel like a lot more needs to go into that process, which also breaks my heart because I don't think our educational system is really meeting up to par in so many things. Even in the area of inclusion, how many of us in school were ever taught anything about inclusion, right? Or even the stigma around mental health.
Yeah.
Over here, it's either you are mad or you are sane. There's such a steep line between that's often ignored, or there's no light shed on that, right? And it's such a terrible thing because people now, even people that struggle with bipolar disorder, right, they are kind of ostracized or made to feel like they don't belong. And many of these things, they have so many ripple effects. So honestly, it's a joint effort, right? Everybody has a part to play because things are crazy, man. I saw a thread the other day before I hand over, the mic to Niah, of this lady. She was a teacher, right? And she was tweeting her different experiences of like horrible parents, like in the schools that she has taught and family friends as well, where some parents neglect of their children is so bad that we have children coming to school, repeating uniforms. Like it's very visibly obvious that, this child hasn't washed this uniform. No parent is actively chasing that. Parents who don't come to pick their children until like 7 p.m. And like the school is vexing because like at that time it's only your child and the gate man that in school, right? We're not liable for these things. And these parents don't care. And again, these are people that are privileged. They have money. It's not like they are broke. Many of them have good jobs. They have nice social media. And the person just highlighted that. So these are supposed to be the well-intentioned people. How about the other members of society who can't even afford these things? Right? So I feel like it goes a lot because a child that is already lacking in those areas of attention, bullying just exasperates the problem so much more. Right? And again, bullies are children too. Bullies also have parents. And it's most times that lack of attention or intentionality that leads to them being bullies, or certain tendencies are just not checked. And those things are escalating outside. So it's crazy, but Niah, what do you think?
So let me get this right. You said, what do I think about kids taunting other kids and how does it affect? So I think there's taunting and there's bullying, right? We taunt ourselves as friends, right? It's like, oh, look at you. Da-da-da. We banter.
Yeah.
And there's kids that do that, and I think people should be able to like banter with each other. There's bullying, where you're drilling in on an insecurity of a person. You're making a child feel less than, especially at this stage of their lives where they're forming their sense of self and you're picking at. I had an experience with someone who, I went to 3 different high schools, by the way. I was moving around. And it seems dramatic, but I am grateful for that because I was bullied in the first 2. And my mother wasn't even like, I'm not even trying to change your system. If you're doing this, my child is leaving. Yeah. And that's it. We're moving. I'm not even, we're done. And so we did a lot of moves for, a while. And it was hard to change. But by the time I got to my 3rd school, I was like, hey, okay. Who is the mad person
that wants to try?
Who is the fool? So I was obviously I experienced this firsthand. But then, especially in my first school, where bullying was a thing, it was such a big thing. It happened so casually. Again, my school as well, students threw hands with teachers. It was like, hey,
It was crazy.
give you, you know. So, but I remember I had someone in school then who we went to through very similar things where we were trolled and insulted and bullied for our bodies, for how we look, like different things. And it's so crazy because it's usually things you can't control. People would insult students for their parents' financial status. Like, bro, nigga just came to school.
Fuck.
Like, which one is his father is a this, his father is a that? What is he supposed to do about that? Okay, her body is built like this. What is she supposed to do about that? It was really bad. We used to have things like, vote for the ugliest girl.
Wow.
There were awards. It was very crazy. And so I remember one of those people we met in uni, right? Not the bully, but one of the people being bullied, right? And I could, in the interactions with men, her sense of
sense of self
insecurity, it shone through, like I could see it. And every time I was just like, I'm so grateful that I left, and I feel so bad because it's like, it's not glaring on the head that, this is because this is it, but because I saw where it was, I knew where it was coming from. I could connect the dots, and I was just like, this is really sad, like she didn't deserve that. Like, this is obviously affecting her decision making, her relationship choices, the kind of people she surrounds herself with, and those are the things that make the life that you live, right?
Fact.
Solely because of these actions that other children were taking. Now, where I think parents come in is because I think children are mean. I think to a large extent, because they have no sense of
moral,
compassion, moral. Well, I think kids have compassion, but I think there's no moral standing. There's no sense of, if I do this, it hurts this other person, which is why a baby is biting your cheek and it could be penny, and they're just going at it. They don't have a sense of that yet. That is still forming, right? And I do think that schools, teachers, parents have a huge role in curbing your kids, right? There's no boys will be boys. No. If your child does something crazy, you need to get them in check and be like, no, you don't speak to people like that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's not acceptable. You can't do that to your sibling, right? Caution it from home. There are certain things that your child should know from jump. This is not acceptable. There are certain words that should not come out of your child's mouth. Your child should not be saying idiot. You're in primary 6 saying idiot. No. There are certain things that you have to curb. But when you know homes where they've given them free reign to do whatever they want. So they come to school and they're like, There's some of the things they say that no child on their own just thinks of this thing. They've heard it somewhere.
Exposed, so.
You go to school and you're hearing people in year 9 saying, your mama did. Growing up in a home where there was the utmost reverence for your parents.
Yeah.
So now hearing people go, your mama,
Yeah.
I'm like, is this what we're doing? And for me, you can't talk about my dad or my mom. I'm ready to
throw hands.
There's another ring.
And I remember going to tell my parents, tomorrow, this is what I'm going to do. Because this was my parents like, but is it true? I said, no. He said, so why do you care? So, again, also having open communication channels with your kids where they have these emotions. How are they processing them? What are they doing about them? If you can't communicate with your child and your child can't tell you, this is what's happening, this is what's being said, then they just become a part of this. I remember there was a time in my life where I used to Google insults. I used to research insults because I wanted to be able to, give them what they're giving me. And at the time, globalization wasn't what it is. The insults you see online were very white kid coded. Right? And I'm like, this is giving me Yoruba and Igbo man. And you're telling me I should go there and say, get a load of this guy. Come on. You need to give me something. Right? And so I sit down for hours, trying to customize insults. So when they said something, that's partly why I learned Yoruba, because they used to insult me in Yoruba. My person used to speak Yoruba to me. Well, you see that? I learned it.
Please, how did you learn it? Because me, I'm striving to make my Yoruba
actively
better.
To what they were saying. I'd write stuff down and ask my parents, what does this mean? I go online, what does this mean?
Also, watch Yoruba movies. As cringe as they might be. They're
it's hard to watch and follow.
Yeah,
especially because sometimes the
the subtitles are
the subtitles don't even match
what you're saying.
There's this new YouTube channel. Shout out to them. Masoyinbo. I don't know if you heard it.
Yeah,
I love it. The game show where you must not speak English.
Yoruba
all true. So there's a prize of #1 million. But The more you speak English in
She's
conversation, they deduct from the money.
I know people that can do. Can I nominate people?
I mean,
I know
why
people that
not?
would do that. Well, my grandma would exceed.
Yeah, my uncle went for it. I was so surprised. Yeah.
Did he win?
I've not finished the episode.
Oh no! My
back.
grandma would go. She will even ask you while you're asking her questions in English. Everything will be Yoruba.
It's actually quite fun. I can't lie. I mean, I was so happy to see stuff like that because I saw it trending over a year ago, and I saw it popped up on my timeline. And it's just fun. Even Taoma was on it. I don't know if you've seen that her character, Quadri.
No.
Oh my god, it's the funniest thing ever. Because Quadri is supposed to be one of her alter egos that's a very troublesome child.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he was now fighting with the organizers of the thing. But
That's
yeah.
lovely. But just to wrap up, with parents playing a pivotal role in how their children come to school and come correct and treat other children, it's very important. I think it's so important. I also think it's very important that not just teachers but management. Teachers are essentially shaping what a child knows as right and wrong, what a child's understanding of the world is. Yet we have the worst of us teaching, and the course you're supposed to be raising the best of us. You don't get the course you want in school. You want to study law, you wanted to give you
Education.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. I feel like our entire education system here really needs to be revamped, right from primary school to university, right? Because it's so heartbreaking that, again, this is 2025. Why are we still having the ideology that science class is for smart kids, art class and commercial is like it's so backwards, right? When we're having people in the other side of the world who double major. There's so many people I know that are majoring in technology and minoring in business or economics and finance and still doing music. Like we so much talent, so much potential is literally being destroyed day by day in this part of the world because we keep streamlining people to boxes and it's so heartbreaking.
I want to pedal back, right? So the reason why I asked the question about the children thing is because, before like we got on air, right? You were talking about how, I'm so self-aware. That's very self-aware, right? And that's something like I've seen about myself. And I noticed that a lot of the things I started struggling with and I was struggling with came from my childhood, and it came from the fact that, and I wasn't just bullied by my
seniors.
No, I wasn't just bullied by my classmates. My teachers as well. My teachers used to insult me a lot.
Ooh, my teachers I'm so sorry to cut it there. My teachers not only insulted me, they gaslit me. When I reported to my parents, there was a particular teacher, because my parents came to school to speak to the principal.
Our school,
there was one of the ones before. My parents came to meet the principal. The teacher ganged the whole class around me and was like, "Oh, you went to report the teacher, but then you said she's a this and a that and a witch." Bro, I can never forget, they made me go and apologize to this teacher. And then she goes and sits solemnly and says, "I will forgive. But I can never forget."
Oh my god.
What the heck? Bro. No, carry on.
Yeah, but so I know that I had to sit down with myself because I'm the type of person that, because I don't like being emotionally uncomfortable. And it wasn't until August of last year that I started healing properly emotionally, right? But before that, I've been to therapy twice, and a lot of my asides being bullied in school, right? I'm the first child, and in the space of 3.5 years, by the time I was 2.5, my mom had another child, and then 3.5 years later, 2 children. So all the love and attention gone in a flash. No. So Momo is 2004. Oju is 2005.
Don't you put in their business out there, but go on.
LOL. But space growing up, that love and attention gone in a flash. And I didn't like my family growing up. I was a very angry child. Really? I was a very angry child. But one thing I know is that my parents were very intentional about shaping the type of human being I would come out to be. Right? Shout out to them. But it wasn't until last year or maybe 2022, like I was really thinking about like why I didn't like my family so much. And then I realized that it started from the fact that I really never, it's not that my family wasn't a safe space. It was just that I really never, because my mom and my dad were really, like they were busy, like, you know, trying to take care of the family, going out, working and all that. I didn't really have that connection growing up. And then I was, you know, I was getting bullied in school, getting insulted. One of my teachers, you see, as I'm a fanboy like this, when I was in primary 3, one of my teachers called me a slut.
In
Slut
primary
is
3.
crazy in primary 3.
And I remember that I asked my mom, oh, what's a slut? Right?
What did you say?
And she was like, oh, it's an animal. I went on Google, I checked it. I cried. I cried so much because one of the things I used to get bullied about was the fact that I was black and ugly.
Children
So that thing
horrible.
really hit me hard. And when I because I told my grandma, and my grandma went to school and she raised hell. And then in the bid to defend herself, she was like, oh no, he's slow in class, he doesn't write his notes, blah blah blah. Okay, but why are you calling me a slut? I took it as you were calling me I'm ugly. And because that was what I was hearing. So like I had to sit down with myself and actually like think about, okay, what in my past is bringing out these things that I'm struggling with, right? Because like I had an anxious attachment style before, right? So like it really affected my dating choices, right? It really affected my friendships. I'm even just coming out of it, like with my friendships, like trying to form like proper bonds. But like it was really bad. But then I had to sit down one day. I'm like, okay, these things I'm struggling with, where did they come from? How can I sort them out? And I remember the first therapist I spoke to, he was like, you are so informed. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I sit down with myself and I'm like, okay, why do I feel this way? Okay, what is making me feel this way? Like if I actually tell you I don't know, it's because like I've thought about it and I don't know, right? And then the second therapist I saw as well, you know, we spoke about. So the first therapist was we're trying to figure out how to manage the anxious attachment style. But then I realized that, you know what, I don't want to have that. Like I want to be able to like, I want to be secure in myself. And then the second therapist, like it was now like, okay, how am I emotionally independent? And to be honest, when I saw a therapist, it was heartbreak.
Oh, that's...
Yeah.
Oh my God. We thank God for where he has brought you from.
Yeah. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. The grass is greener on this side.
Oh yeah, but there's something she said that also you know, made me remember our last episode, right, which was parenthood. And that was why I still strongly believe if I ever got the chance to rule the world, that would be my number one role, right?
You can't ask me. Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the last episode, right? I'm not going to give you off that easily. So yeah, we played a game and we're going to play a game real quick. It's called If I Rule the World, and you have to pitch one idea, a policy, it could be an invention, but one thing that you would do as the leader, I won't say the leader of the world, but if you rule the world for a day and you could only make one mild or drastic change, what would it be? Exactly. So who wants to start?
Let me go.
All right, let's go.
I would mandate everybody to, you know, those comprehension and quantitative, quantitative reasoning, verbal reasoning, comprehension. Every single person on this planet, no matter the language, you're going to do that. Because as a race, a lot of people lack basic quantitative reasoning and comprehension. Because to be able to solve problems, you need to be able to reason and comprehend. When I interact with people and I clock that they cannot comprehend, I am so, like, I don't even, before I used to get irritated. I don't get irritated anymore because like I'm just like, it's not your fault. But if it's me, that's quantitative reasoning. Because I saw a tweet one day that this woman, like, she took a picture of the book and she was like, please someone should come and help me. Let my niece not go and fail in school. Please come and help me with this
Okay,
assignment.
that assignment.
And I was
That
just
thing
like,
was so easy now.
Like it
I
was
saw
easy,
it.
and I was just like, man, you're most likely a 30-something-year-old person. Like, come on, man. Come on. Like,
And what was the quality of her education is something we also need to consider.
Right,
that's why it's going to be a
let's
policy.
let's not blame the victims. Let's just change the system.
Because it's
Exactly.
painful. Because you meet so many people, whether it's from NYSC or work, they're brilliant. You know that at least they understand quite a number of things, but errors in their diction, in the basic things, sometimes it's in pronunciation, sometimes it's in pronouns, right? Mixing things up.
Yeah.
And just like, if I could meet your primary school teacher, I'll just use cane.
But
Flog them.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's so sad. So your rule or your change is
focus on quantitative reasoning and
verbal
comprehension.
reason. Okay, and comprehension. Okay.
I think
Are you voting for that?
yes, 100%. I think everyone
good.
should go through that. How about you?
Okay. I mean, okay, I think I would actually. It's calm.
It makes sense. I'm so indecisive. I had a bunch of things I want to do, but I think this would be a ripple effect of having a mentally aware, mindful, world, right? Where I think therapy should be mandatory, like part of our culture. Like getting mental help would be a part of our culture, would be part of our daily, would be part of same way it's like on Sunday you go to church. Everybody's like, oh, I have therapy on Thursday. Oh, I have like your office has to give you the same way you have a day off for church and like a worship day, you have a day off for your mind. To go and even more so, the more chaotic your country is, the more time you have to recoup. Like it needs to be mandatory because I feel like people need to be more self-aware. People need to actually think more deeply about things and understand why they do the things they do, because a lot of times people just act without thinking it through. I think people need to process that. I think a lot of people are not mindful enough of other people and are very self-centered and are just like, this is me. No, I think people also need to just think outside themselves, and I think these are all things that therapy would help with. Like if kids are going to therapy, they know that like, because mom and dad are doing whatever they're doing with themselves at home doesn't mean I have the right to go harm another person's child because this is this and that is that. Everybody, because me, a guy now saw his parents doing this doesn't mean like, oh, when I have my wife, I'm going to do that. Like you get ahead of those things because it's such a culture to say that, okay, I'm separating myself from this experience. So therapy being a heavy part of worldwide culture, like being almost like compulsory. Yeah. That like just the way you pay your taxes without like you have to go for therapy.
Yeah, that's a good one. I genuinely agree with that because therapy has helped me so much. Yes, I agree with that.
I'm watching this series Billions, and I love it because I'm a finance junkie, and it's about the American Stock Exchange, one of the biggest hedge funds. And the craziest thing I love about the series, apart from it's just being about a lot of American politics, is the fact that the CEO of the hedge fund, he's a billionaire, and he massively emphasizes on like mental health and therapy because he has a company therapist that had been with him even before he married, even before she married their spouses. And whenever he's in a fix, whenever he's stuck, whenever he has issues, he consults her. He makes sure his staff also consult her. And they even featured loads of other therapists or life coaches in the series. But it wasn't done in a cheesy or cliche way. But it just showed how important it is. So I think I'll go for that.
Yeah, and therapists are they're doctors. They're doctors for your mind. So like if you're going to see a doctor for your body, you should go and see a doctor for your mind.
First. I think mine, I was going to go the education route, but since you've gone that, I think I will go the public service route. If I could rule the world for a day, now this is globally, we all know that corruption is in every country, right? But more countries than others, experience it on a larger scale. Or I feel it's always in proportion, right? But at the end of the day, like accountability is lacking in a lot of ways. So I think for me, my number one rule would be public servants. Okay, this is a bit gory, but public servants would, what's the nicest way to say this? Right? Would be vetted annually, and especially government officials, right?
You're talking about.
And if you are largely found wanting, like we're talking people that are carrying funds, diverting it to personal houses, I'm sorry, but you gotta go, right? Because it has to also serve as an example to people who are looking up that pipeline to get to certain places to do things.
For your actions.
Right. So yeah, and it's automatic. There's no escaping. There's no bureaucracy. There's no immunity. This is your annual report card, and you gotta go. So yeah, what do you guys think?
I mean, that's very gory, but like I would imagine that you just you put them in a cage. Funny enough, they do that in a small town in Italy, where like they actually have that they rank their public servants.
Yeah,
and like the person found most wanting, they put him in a cage.
Wow.
And they dip him inside the river. So what they do is that they would lower the cage into the river while the governor of the town is reading your offenses.
Oh wow.
And until like your offenses is done reading,
you're not coming up.
They'll just they will dip you in.
Yeah.
They'll bring you out. Then he's reading another offense.
You go in.
They'll dip you in.
Crazy.
They'll bring you out.
Baptism of corruption.
They'll bring you, dip you. Like I saw that and I was just like, man, I don't want to be that guy. And then the river is ice cold. Like it is. It's not. It is cold. So let me tell you, people, right? Like if you've ever been like your skin has ever felt ice before, that's my present experience.
Yeah, facts. What do you think
about that? I don't want anybody to die. I think lifelong imprisonment, solitary confinement, exiling. I feel like there's a lot of things we can do. Okay. I don't want to be responsible for like killing people. Also because death is so definitive, it's so final. And then you not find out that someone like set him up and did it and just like, oops.
It's that.
So I say, let's just lock him up for life, or you're exiled, you can't come back to the country or something.
Okay. I mean, humans always find their ways around those things, sure.
Yeah.
But, I get you. But yeah, my people, thank you all for listening to this episode. It was really fun. I think we even went past our normal mark, but it was quite an interesting conversation. So yeah, till next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.